All right, guys. Hello. Hopefully this video is up and running. If not, you're working on a worksheet about the color wheel, but then you're not even hearing this, so it doesn't really matter. Since it's up and running, theoretically, let's talk about the next or the first part of art. I'm sorry I haven't been around. I don't know if your substitutes explained it to you, but I'm basically at extremely high risk for COVID, and I can't go the first couple weeks until we're pretty sure there's not going to be an outbreak at school. So I should be back soon. Until then, we're going to have to do it this way. What we're going to talk about today is the process of creating art, of being creative. We call it the artistic process. And I've set up our grading, like the way we do assignments in this class, to mirror this style. So if you're doing the artistic process correctly, you're going to do great in the class. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to look at the way I want you thinking about and working on a project. A lot of times nobody explains to you how an art project is supposed to work, what the process is supposed to look like, and that's kind of what we're going to go through today. So let's talk about it in the form of two different artists. We have a prompt. Say Mr. Reimer gives you a project prompt for the day. And it's something pretty simple. It's just draw a man. It's a pretty simple idea. So let's look at what the first person does. This is their piece of paper. That's what they're going to turn in. It's the right size because I handed it out to you, whatever. Now, draw a man's a pretty vague, there's not a lot of specifics to it, kind of prompt. What can somebody do with this? This guy's going to do the very bare minimum. He's going to see draw a man. Okay, draw that man. There, that's it. That's his whole project. Turned it in, took him 2 seconds. Let's look at the way I grade things and what I'm looking for in your artwork. First, did you follow the rules? What rules did Mr. Reimer give you for the assignment? Did you follow the prompt? Did you turn in the right size on the right material, that sort of stuff? Did this guy follow the rules? Yeah, I only told him to draw a man. Definitely. Full credit there. Now, the next three things, that's where stuff gets a little more complicated. Next one is craftsmanship. That's how well is it made. Did you do it the best you could do it? Did you put every amount of effort you have in there? Now, I'm looking at your drawings all the time. I know how you're drawing. I know where your skill level is. That's why we do things like the personality palette. So I should know whether or not you're putting your best foot forward. That's my job. That's what I do well. Time management. Did you use your time to the best of your ability? Did you finish it in 5 minutes and sit around bored for 2 weeks? Or did you plan out the process? Did you sketch for a while and then work on the drawing and plan it out so it fit in the time frame? And that goes for people who go way over as well. Some people plan things so complicated they couldn't possibly finish it in the amount of time given. So that all falls under time management. And then lastly, you got creativity. And this has a lot to do with thought. Did you try to come up with a solution to the problem that nobody else did? The problem is you have to draw a man. But what can you do with that? What can you do differently than anybody else is doing? That's where creativity comes in. And it's not about being an artistic person or anything like that. It's just using your brain to come up with different ideas. And that's what our second one's going to look like. Well, let's go back to this guy here. So we already agreed he followed the rules. Great. Is there craftsmanship to it? No. He kind of went as fast as he possibly could. So, no credit there. Did he use his time well? Most of our projects are going to take 2 weeks. This took the guy 2 seconds. So now he's just sitting around bored, doing nothing in classes and distracting other people. So, nothing there. Was it creative? Did he try and come up with a solution that nobody else had come up with? No. He used the first thing out of the gate, didn't think about it much past that. So although he followed the rules, he's still at only about 25%. That's not passing. 50% is an F. So he's not even halfway there. Let's look at another person, somebody who's going to do their best and try and get an A on this thing. Now, what the good person's going to do, the person who wants to like ace this, they're going to go away from the finished product. There's a whole bunch of thinking and planning that has to happen first. So they're going to go to their sketchbook. And we're in the second week of school, and we talked about this on that first Smart Start week. We want to start getting our sketchbook, guys. If you don't have it this week, start using scratch pieces of paper for the things we're going to be doing the rest of this week. And when you get your sketchbook, stick it in there. But by next week, you should have your sketchbook. It's the main supply that you need to go get. I'm going to work on getting the rest of the supplies out to everybody. But for now, that's the one you guys really need, is that sketchbook. All right. So in their sketchbook, they look at this idea of draw a man. Okay, what is a man? Like, yeah, there's this basic idea of it, but what other things symbolize a man? Like, just when you hear the word man, what pictures pop into your mind? Basic brainstorming techniques. So things like, this is the symbol for man, that like circle with an arrow on it. There's bathroom sign. That guy. How about something like a caveman, like early man? Something like that. Those are interesting ideas. On their own, they're kind of boring. What if we combine two of them? If we took two things that are somewhat related, but we don't normally see together, and stick them together, see what happens. You end up with like that bathroom sign with a caveman in it, or an ape. That's kind of interesting. But looking at it again, that might not take the time we need it to. There might need to be improved. Maybe you could draw it like it's an actual bathroom sign, like draw the rest of the door and give it some three-dimensionality, if you know how to do that. And that's another part of this, is knowing what your skill level is. Do you know how to do that? Can you just ask Mr. Reimer how to do it? Are you willing to do it? All those kind of questions. But this person, they know how to draw a little more realistically, so maybe they go all the way back to, I liked this idea of early man, but I'm just going to take that to a logical end. I'm just going to go online and draw that out as best as I can. So I'm going to go online, find an image of what they think the missing link looks like, and just do a hyper-realistic drawing of that. And I'm not going to fully do that, but they can go back to their paper, look at the materials they need to use, and draw it out as best as possible. Obviously, this is not that. But something like that, something a little more well done. So, did this person follow the rules? Absolutely. Did they take their time to create something? We're going to say yes. We're going to pretend that's a realistic drawing. Did they use their time well? Yeah, they saw they had weeks to figure this out and weeks to work on it, so they spent some time brainstorming, came up with a creative idea, and then used the rest of their time to execute it well. So those craftsmanship, time management, and creativity are all kind of interrelated. So yeah, they used their time well. And was it a creative idea? Absolutely. Not everybody's going to come to this solution. It was a process of thinking, of moving around through these ideas and coming up with something that's individually them. This person had the skills to do this, and the idea was kind of their own. Might other people do this also? Yeah, but there's a certain amount of individuality that'll come through. So, absolutely. A+. And I would say they'd gotten most of that stuff done before they'd even started the drawing. They'd already knew they were within the rules. They already were thinking about how they were going to make it, what they were going to make, and planning out how long it was going to take them. They're already in an A before they've even made a mark because they're planning it out well, because they're using that artistic process. So that's most of the way we do stuff in this class. Next, I want to talk a little bit about the sketchbook. Okay, so here's my sketchbook, the one I'm working on currently. Normally how this sketchbook works, it's one for keeping notes. So we tend to do warm-ups every single day That's not really going to happen while we're doing this like over video kind of thing, but we'll work on it. Don't worry. Um, what I want you to do until we can get back to face and get back to work is I want you to draw 10 minutes a day in your sketchbook. Now, every great artist that I know says to draw for an hour a day in your sketchbook. And that's kind of what I've committed myself to. And it's shown incredible improvement. Like, it is just that horrible cliche of if you draw every day a long time, you just get better. Your hands start to remember things. You get a bit of muscle memory, and things just get more fluid and easier because all those basic things you're worried about all the time kind of move to the back to the subconscious, and you start being able to think a little more and work on other things. So for right now, your assignment is 10 minutes a day in the sketchbook. I'm not going to check that every single day or every week. We turn it in at the end of the semester. And I'm going to go through and just make sure you've been working in it. Look for things that, like prompts I've told you to write in there, notes, like art history notes and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to be looking for. So for right now, 10 minutes a day. And if we're doing something in class, like we're going to be doing the next few days, where it's a 10 to 20 minute like warm up activity we're doing, that can count for your 10 minutes a day easily. You don't have to do another 10 minutes on top of that. If you really, really want to improve, you want to be the best you could possibly be, I would highly recommend more than 10 minutes, but that's all you're required to do. Okay? So with this information, and with this about the sketchbook, I want you to spend the rest of the time just doodling around in your sketchbook. Try and go for like a stream of consciousness idea. Like start drawing fruit and keep going with fruit. And once your brain hits a wall there, jump to a different piece of food. And then draw food for a little while, draw a pizza, draw soda. What occurs to you with a soda? And then move on from there. I want you to spend your remaining class period time doodling in your sketchbook. And then give yourself about 5 minutes at the end to pack up and clean up and get ready to roll. All right? Have a great day, guys.